Dr. Maya Rodriguez had dreamed of this moment her entire life. Standing at the observation deck of the intergalactic medical station, she watched Mars slowly rotate below them. The red planet looked so peaceful from up here, but Maya knew that history was being made right now, right in this place. She was one of only 12 humans selected for the Stever medical exchange program with alien species. After years of secret negotiations and careful planning, Earth's governments had finally agreed to this groundbreaking cooperation. Maya adjusted her white medical coat and took a deep breath. Today would change everything she thought she knew about medicine. The medical station was massive, built like a giant wheel spinning slowly in space. Different sections housed different alien species, each with their own environmental needs. The human section was small compared to the others, which made Maya feel both excited and a little nervous. She had studied alien biology for months, but seeing it in person would be completely different. As Maya walked through the corridors toward the medical bay, she noticed how quiet everything was. The walls hummed softly with advanced technology. She couldn't even begin to understand. Lights seemed to follow her movements, brightening as she approached and dimming behind her. Even the air felt different here, cleaner somehow, with a slight metallic taste that reminded her this wasn't Earth. When she reached the medical bay, Maya stopped in amazement. The room was unlike any hospital she had ever seen. Instead of harsh white lights, there was a soft, natural glow coming from panels in the ceiling. Medical equipment floated silently around the room, some pieces she recognized, others that looked like they belonged in a science fiction movie. That's when she saw her first alien. The being standing near a floating diagnostic table was roughly human-shaped but clearly not human. She had long, elegant limbs and skin that seemed to shimmer with a soft blue light. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, a deep violet color that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. When she turned to look at Maya, her skin shifted to a lighter shade of blue, and she smiled in a way that was somehow both alien and completely familiar. "Welcome to the medical station," the alien said in perfect English, though her voice had a musical quality that made every word sound like part of a song. "I am Kira 3 of the Kepleron Medical Corps. I will be your guide and colleague during your time here." Maya felt her heart racing with excitement. "I'm Dr. Maya Rodriguez from Earth. I've been looking forward to this moment for years." Kira 3's skin brightened slightly, which Maya guessed was a good sign. "Your species' determination to learn is quite remarkable. We have been studying your medical practices and we find them creative." Maya wasn't sure if that was a compliment, but she chose to take it as one. "We're eager to learn from you too. Your people's reputation for healing spans across multiple star systems. Today we will begin with your health screening Kira 3, explained, gesturing toward the floating equipment. "All new arrivals must undergo complete biological assessment. This helps us understand how to best work together and ensures no harmful microorganisms are transmitted between species." Maya nodded. She had expected this. Back on Earth, she had gone through countless medical exams and vaccinations. But this would be different. This would use alien technology that could probably see things about her body that human doctors never could. Other humans began arriving in the medical bay. Dr. James Park, surgeon from Korea. Dr. Amara Hassan, an infectious disease specialist from Nigeria. Dr. Ivan Petrov, a neurologist from Russia. Each of them looked as amazed and nervous as Maya felt. They had all trained together on Earth, but being here made everything feel real in a way that no amount of preparation could match. Kira 3 began explaining the scanning process. "Our bioscanners are completely non-invasive. You will feel nothing. More than a slight tingling sensation, scan reads your cellular structure, neural patterns, immune system status, and genetic markers. This information helps us create personalized treatment protocols should you need medical attention during your stay." One by one, the human doctors stepped onto the scanning platform. Maya watched as gentle waves of light passed over each of her colleagues. The process took only a few minutes for each person. Dr. Park went first, then Dr. Hassan, then Dr. Petrov. Each scan seemed routine, Kira 3 nodding approvingly at the results displayed on floating holographic screens. Then, it was Maya's turn. She stepped onto the platform, feeling a slight vibration under her feet. The scanning light began at her head, moving slowly down her body. At first, everything seemed normal. Maya felt the tingling sensation Kira 3 had described, like a gentle electric current running through her skin. But then something changed. Maya noticed Kira 3's skin suddenly shifting to a much darker blue, almost purple. The alien's large eyes widened, and she leaned closer to the diagnostic display. The soft humming of the equipment grew slightly louder, and the scanning lights began moving more slowly, as if the machine needed more time to process what it was. "Seeing, is everything okay?" Maya asked, though she could see that something was definitely not routine about her scan. Kira 3 didn't answer immediately. Her skin continued to darken, and Maya realized this must be the Kepleron equivalent of blushing, or showing surprise. The alien's fingers moved quickly across the holographic controls. Running the scan again from a different angle, the other human doctors had noticed too. They gathered closer, looking concerned. Dr. Park whispered, "Maya, are you feeling all right?" Felt fine, completely normal. But clearly, the scanning equipment was seeing something unusual. She watched Kira 3's face, trying to read the alien's expression. Those violet eyes held something Maya couldn't quite identify. Surprise? Wonder? Maybe even a little fear. Finally, Kira 3 looked up from the displays. Her skin was still that deep. Purple color, and when she spoke, her musical voice was quieter than before. "Dr. Rodriguez," she said carefully, "would you be willing to remain after the others have completed their orientation? I would like to conduct a more detailed examination." Maya felt her stomach flutter with nervousness. Is something wrong? Did the scan show a medical problem? Kira 3's skin flickered between purple and blue, which Maya was beginning to understand meant the alien was feeling conflicted about something. "Nothing is wrong with your health," she said, which was both reassuring and somehow more worrying at the same time. The other doctors looked at Maya with concern, but she nodded. "Of course, whatever you need." As her colleagues left the medical bay for their orientation tours, Maya remained on the scanning platform. The room felt much larger with just her and Kira 3 in it. The alien moved around the equipment, adjusting settings and bringing additional scanners online. "Dr. Rodriguez," Kira 3 said finally. Her skin now a swirling mix of blue and purple in all my years of medical practice. Across dozens of species and thousands of individuals, I've never seen readings quite like yours. Maya's heart began beating faster. "What kind of readings?" Kira 3 turned to face her fully, those ancient violet eyes meeting Maya's brown ones. "Readings that suggest you may be far more important to the future of interspecies medicine than anyone could have imagined." Maya's hands felt sweaty as she sat in the private examination room. The walls here were different from the main medical bay, softer somehow, the warm golden glow that reminded her of sunset back on Earth. Kira 3 had led her here after the other doctors left, and the silence between them had been heavy with unspoken questions. The alien nurse moved gracefully around the room, activating different pieces of equipment. Her skin was still that deep purple color, and Maya noticed her movements seemed more careful now, more deliberate. Whatever the scan had shown, it had clearly affected Kira 3 in a big way. "Please, sit comfortably," Kira 3 said, gesturing to a chair that adjusted itself automatically to Maya's body shape. "What I am about to tell you may be difficult to understand at first." Maya's heart was pounding. "Just tell me straight. What did you find?" Kira 3 stopped moving and turned to face her. Those large violet eyes seemed to be looking right through Maya's soul. "Your neural patterns are unlike anything we have documented in human medical databases. In fact, they match patterns we have only seen in legends from my homeworld." "Legends?" Maya felt confused. "What kind of legends?" The alien's skin flickered between purple and a softer blue as she seemed to wrestle with how to explain. "My people. The Keplerons have been practicing medicine across the galaxy for over 3,000 years. We have treated countless species, learned their biological systems, helped them heal. But our oldest stories speak of individuals who possess what we call the universal touch." Maya leaned forward, What does that mean exactly? Kira 3 activated a holographic display that showed Maya's brain scan. The image rotated slowly, highlighting certain areas in bright golden light. These neural pathways, she said, pointing to the glowing sections. They show empathic resonance patterns that exist in only 1 out of every million beings we have scanned. But your patterns are even rarer. They suggest you have the potential to understand and adapt to any biological system you encounter. I don't understand, Maya said, though something deep inside her was beginning to stir with recognition. What does that actually mean for me, for my work? It means, Kira 3 said slowly, that you could potentially treat any species anywhere in the galaxy. Your brain appears capable of instinctively understanding alien physiology in ways that normally take us decades to learn. Maya stared at the glowing image of her own brain. It looked so normal to her, just like any brain scan she had seen during medical school. But apparently, it was anything but normal. How is that even possible? I'm just a regular doctor from Earth. Kira 3's skin shifted to a warmer blue, which Maya was learning meant the alien was feeling more comfortable. That is what makes this so remarkable. Your species is still young in terms of galactic civilization, yet somehow you have developed this incredibly rare gift naturally. But there has to be a catch, right? Maya asked. She had learned long ago that anything that seemed too good to be true usually was. You said this was in legends. What else? Do the legends say? The alien's skin darkened again, and she looked away from Maya's eyes. The stories warn that such abilities come with great risk. The neural pathways that allow for universal empathy are also very fragile. Using this gift extensively can damage them permanently. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of damage? Memory loss, cognitive impairment, in some cases, complete neural breakdown. Kira 3's voice had become very quiet. The legends speak of healers who burned out their own minds trying to save others. The room fell silent except for the soft humming of the medical equipment. Maya stared at her hands, trying to process what she was hearing. She had always been good with patients, always seemed to understand what they needed even when they couldn't explain it themselves. Her professors in medical school had called it intuition, but maybe it had been something more. There's something else, Kira 3 continued, and her skin had turned almost completely purple now. Knowledge of abilities like yours has historically attracted the attention of various factions across the galaxy. Some would want to study you, others would want to use you, and some might see you as a threat to their own medical superiority. Maya looked up sharply. Are you saying I'm in danger? Potentially, yes. Kira 3 moved closer, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. This is why I requested a private examination. The official medical reports will be reviewed by the stations administration, which includes representatives from 12 different species. If they see these readings, word will spread quickly. So what are you suggesting? Maya asked. Though she was beginning to understand where this conversation was heading, Kira 3 was quiet for a long moment, her skin swirling with different shades of blue and purple. Maya could almost see the internal struggle playing out in those colored changes. Finally, the alien spoke. I could modify the report. Show you as having above-average empathic abilities, but nothing that would draw unwanted attention. It would protect you while still allowing you to work here and learn. Maya felt torn. Part of her was excited by the possibility that she might have some special gift that could help people across the galaxy. But another part of her was terrified by the risks Kira 3 had described. She thought about her life back on Earth, her plans for the future, her dreams of becoming a great doctor. If I do have these abilities, Maya said carefully, and if they could really help people, don't I have a responsibility to use them? Kira 3's skin brightened slightly. That is a very human way of thinking. Most species would prioritize self-preservation. But yes, if your abilities are real, they could revolutionize how we approach interspecies medicine. But they could also destroy my mind in the process, Maya added. Yes, Kira 3 agreed simply. Maya stood up and walked to the small window that looked out into space. Stars stretched endlessly in all directions, and somewhere among them were worlds full of people who might need healing. She thought about why she had become a doctor in the first place, about the oath she had taken to help others. Can you teach me she asked finally, turning back to Kira 3. If I really do have these abilities, can you help me learn to use them? Safely. Kira 3's skin shifted to a warm golden blue that Maya hadn't seen before. I have never attempted such training, but yes, I believe it is possible. My people have meditation techniques and mental exercises that strengthen neural pathways. With careful practice and strict limits, you might be able to develop your gift without burning out. Maya took a deep breath. Then let's try it. But I want to understand everything, every risk, every possibility. And I want your honest opinion about whether we should tell the administration. For now, Kira 3 said, I think we should keep this. Between us, let me run a few more tests, teach you some basic techniques, and see how your abilities actually manifest. Then, we can make an informed decision about how to proceed. Maya nodded, feeling both scared and excited. She had come to the medical station expecting to learn about alien medicine, but instead she was discovering something incredible about herself, something that could change not just her life, but potentially the future of medicine across the galaxy. When do we start? She asked. Kira 3's skin glowed with that warm golden blue. Start now. 3 weeks had passed since Maya's first scan, and her life had completely changed. Every morning, she would attend the regular medical training sessions with her human colleagues, learning about different alien species and their unique health needs. But every evening, she would slip away to meet Kira 3 in the private examination room for secret training sessions that were unlike anything she had ever experienced. The training started simple. Kira 3 taught her breathing exercises that came from the Kepleran homeworld. Techniques that had been used for thousands of years to strengthen the mind and protect neural pathways. Maya would sit quietly, focusing on her breathing while Kira 3 guided her through mental exercises designed to make her more aware of her own thoughts and feelings. Feel the energy moving through your body, Kira 3 would say in her musical voice. Your species calls it intuition, but it is much more than that. It is your mind reaching out and connecting with the life force around you. At first, Maya felt silly doing these exercises. They reminded her of yoga classes back on Earth, and she wasn't sure they were actually doing anything. But gradually, she began to notice changes. She started picking up on emotions from people around her more clearly. When Dr. Park was worried about a patient, Maya could sense his anxiety even before he said anything. When Dr. Hassan was excited about a new discovery, Maya felt that excitement too. Like a warm glow in her chest. The real breakthrough came during her 4th week on the station. Maya was working in the main medical bay when an emergency alarm sounded. A Zephyrian trader had collapsed in the docking bay, and none of the medical staff could figure out what was wrong with him. Zephyrians were bird-like creatures with hollow bones and complex respiratory systems. Maya had studied their anatomy, but only from textbooks. She had never actually treated one before. When they brought the patient in, she could see that he was struggling to breathe, his feathers turning a dull gray color that indicated severe distress. Dr. Chen, the human team leader, was running diagnostic scans, but nothing was showing up. The Zephyrian's vital signs were all wrong, but the equipment couldn't identify the problem. Other doctors were checking medical databases, trying different treatments, but nothing was working. Maya watched from the side, feeling helpless. But then something strange happened. As she looked at the Zephyrian patient, she began to feel what he was feeling. It's not just emotionally, but physically. She could sense a pressure in her chest, a feeling like something was blocking her airways. But it wasn't in her lungs. It was somewhere else, somewhere deeper. Without thinking, Maya stepped forward. I think there's something wrong with his air sacs, she said quietly. Dr. Chen looked up from his scanner. Air sacs. Maya Zephyrians don't have air sacs like Earthbirds. Their respiratory system is completely different, but Maya could feel it, as clear as if it was happening to her own body. There's a blockage in the secondary respiratory chamber, the one behind his heart. It's not showing up on our scans because our equipment is calibrated for mammalian anatomy. The room went quiet. Everyone was staring at Maya, wondering how she could know something that wasn't showing up on any of their advanced diagnostic equipment. Maya felt her face getting hot with embarrassment. But she was certain she was right. Kira 3, who had been observing from the corner, stepped forward. Her skin had turned that familiar golden blue color that meant she was excited. Dr. Rodriguez may be correct. Zephyrian anatomy includes vestigial air chambers that are rarely problematic. Our standard scans do not usually check them. Dr. Chen looked skeptical, but he adjusted the scanner settings to focus on the area Maya had indicated. Immediately, the holographic display lit up with a bright red warning. There was indeed a severe blockage in a small chamber behind the patient's heart, something that would have been almost impossible to detect without knowing exactly where. To look within minutes, they had cleared the blockage using a microsurgical probe. The Zephyrian's feathers immediately began returning to their normal bright blue color, and his breathing became steady and strong. He would make a full recovery. After the patient was stable, Maya found herself surrounded by curious colleagues who wanted to know how she had known about the blockage. She mumbled something about remembering an obscure detail from her studies, but she could see that no one really believed her. Dr. Chen was giving her strange looks, and she overheard Dr. Petrov whispering to Dr. Hassan about how unusual her diagnosis had been. That evening, Maya met with Kira 3 as usual, but this time the alien's expression was serious. "What happened today in the medical bay?" Kira 3 said. "That was your gift manifesting." "You felt what the patient was feeling, didn't you?" Maya nodded, still shaken by the experience. "It was like I could sense his pain, as if it was my own." "Is that normal? For someone with your abilities?" "Yes. But Maya, you must be more careful. Others are beginning to notice that you seem to know things you shouldn't know." Over the next few days, Maya realized that Kira 3 was right. She caught Dr. Chen watching her during procedures. She noticed that other medical staff would sometimes stop their conversations when she walked by. Word was spreading that the human doctor had made an impossible diagnosis, and people were curious about how she had done it. The situation got more complicated when Dr. Hassan approached Maya privately. "I've been thinking about what happened with the Zephyrian patient," she said. "I've reviewed every medical text about their species. There's no way you could have known about that air chamber from standard human medical training." "How did you really know?" Maya felt trapped. She wanted to tell her colleague the truth, but she had promised Kira 3 to keep her abilities secret. "I guess I just got lucky," she said weakly. Dr. Hassan didn't look convinced.
Maya, we've worked
"Together for months? I know you're a good doctor, but what happened that day was beyond good. It was like you could see inside that patient's body in ways our scanners couldn't." That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Dr. Hassan's questions and the way other people were looking at her. She also couldn't stop thinking about the Zephyrian patient and how good it had felt to help him when no one else could. During her training session with Kira 3, Maya brought up her concerns. "People are getting suspicious. Maybe we should tell them the truth." Kira 3's skin turned a worried purple. "It is still too dangerous. You are just beginning to understand your abilities. If the wrong people find out now, before you have learned to control your gift properly, they could force you to use it in ways that would harm you." "But I helped that patient," Maya argued. "Maybe I could help others too. Isn't that what matters?" "Yes, helping others matters," Kira 3 agreed. "But you must also think about helping yourself. Your abilities are growing stronger each day. Yesterday, you sensed one patient's condition. Tomorrow, you might be able to sense the conditions of everyone in the medical bay at once. Without proper training and protection, that could overwhelm your mind completely." Maya understood what Kira 3 was saying, but it was hard to hide something that felt so much like her true purpose. She had become a doctor to help people, and now she had discovered she could help them in ways no other human could. Keeping that secret felt like betraying everything she believed in. "How long do we have to keep this hidden?" Maya asked. Kira 3's skin flickered between blue and purple as she considered the question. "Till you are strong enough to protect yourself from those who would exploit your gift, until you can control your abilities instead of them controlling you." Maya nodded, but deep inside she wondered if that day would ever come. She wondered what would happen when it did. Everything changed on a Tuesday morning when they brought in the Andromedian child. Maya was reviewing patient files in the main medical bay when the emergency transporter materialized in the center of the room. The bright blue light faded to reveal a small, delicate creature, no bigger than a human toddler. The Andromedian's skin was translucent, showing the intricate network of silver veins beneath. But those veins were flickering weakly instead of glowing with their usual bright light. The child's parents appeared a moment later, their own skin patterns flashing in rapid panic sequences that Maya had learned meant extreme distress. Through the universal translator, their words came out in broken, desperate phrases. Please help. ... 3 days sick. No one can find cause. ... Our child is dying. Ta. Dr. Chen immediately took charge, directing the child to the intensive care unit. While other doctors began running every diagnostic test available, Maya watched from a distance, her heart breaking as she saw the fear in the parents' faces. She didn't need her special abilities to understand their terror. Any parent would feel the same watching their child slip away. The test results came back one by one, and each one showed the same thing: nothing. The child's organs appeared healthy. Blood chemistry was normal, brain activity was stable. But somehow, the life force that kept Andromedians alive was slowly fading away. Dr. Hassan emerged from the intensive care unit, looking exhausted. It's like nothing we've ever seen, she told the assembled medical team. Every system in the child's body is functioning properly, but the energy matrix that powers their metabolism is shutting down for no apparent reason. Maya felt that familiar stirring in her chest, the sensation that had become stronger over the past weeks of training with Kira 3. Without thinking, she started moving toward the intensive care unit. She could feel something calling to her, a pull she couldn't ignore. Maya, where are you going? Dr. Chen called after her. I just want to observe, she said, though that wasn't exactly true. She needed to be near the child, needed to understand. What was happening? Inside the intensive care unit, Maya stood at the foot of the child's bed and closed her eyes. She did the breathing exercises Kirathri had taught her, reaching out with her mind the way she had learned during their secret training sessions. Immediately she felt it, a darkness inside the child that wasn't showing up on any scanner. It wasn't a disease or an infection. It was something much more subtle and much more dangerous. The child's energy matrix wasn't shutting down randomly. Something was draining it, feeding off the life force that kept Andromedians alive. Which Maya could sense the presence like a shadow, something that existed on a level between thoughts and emotions. It was a form of psychic parasite that human medical equipment couldn't detect, because humans didn't even believe such things existed. Maya opened her eyes and realized that several doctors were staring at her. She had been standing motionless for almost 10 minutes, and her expression must have shown that she had discovered something important. Maya, Dr. Hassan said quietly, what did you see? Before Maya could answer, the door opened and Director Zenth walked in. The Centaurian was tall and imposing, with forearms and skin that looked like polished metal. Maya had only met him once, before, during her initial orientation, but she knew he was one of the most powerful beings on the station. I understand we have a challenging case, Director Zenth said in his deep, resonating voice. The child's condition has been reported to the Galactic Medical Council. They are very interested in our ability to solve this puzzle. Maya felt her stomach drop. If the Galactic Medical Council was involved, that meant important people were watching their every move. Any unusual diagnostic methods would be scrutinized carefully. Dr. Chen began explaining what they had tried so far, listing all the tests and treatments that had failed. Director Zenth listened with his forearms crossed, his metallic features showing no emotion. Most interesting, the director said when Dr. Chen finished. And Dr. Rodriguez, I understand you have been observing the patient closely. Do you have any insights? Maya felt like everyone in the room was staring at her. She could sense Kirathri watching from the doorway. Her skin turned a worried purple. Maya knew that whatever she said next would change everything. I think, Maya said slowly, that we might be dealing with something that doesn't show up on conventional scans. Something that affects the patient on an energy level rather than a physical level. Director Zenth's metal eyebrows rose. Energy level. That is quite a sophisticated diagnosis for someone trained in human medicine. What makes you think such a thing exists? Maya's mouth felt dry. Just ... intuition, I suppose. Sometimes patients present symptoms that don't fit normal patterns. Indeed, the director said, and Maya didn't like the way his voice sounded. And do you have any suggestions for treatment of this energy level condition? Maya looked at the dying child, then at the desperate parents, then at her colleagues who were counting on her to help. She thought about all the training sessions with Kira 3, all the warnings about keeping her abilities secret, all the dangers of revealing what she could really do. But she also thought about the oath she had taken as a doctor, the promise to help those who needed healing. I think Maya said quietly that we need to try a more holistic approach, something that addresses the patient's complete energy system, not just the physical symptoms. Director Zenth stepped closer, his metallic eyes studying Maya intently.
Dr. Rodriguez.
You seem to have remarkable insight into conditions that most humans would never even consider. Tell me, how did you really know about the Zephyrian's air sac blockage last month? How do you really know about this child's energy matrix problem? The room fell completely silent. Maya could feel her heart pounding so loud she was sure everyone could hear it. She looked around at her colleagues, at Kira 3 in the doorway, at the dying child in the bed. Then she made a decision that would change everything. Director Maya said, her voice stronger than she felt, I believe I may have some unusual diagnostic abilities that could help this patient. But I need to speak with you privately about the implications. Director Zenth's metal features shifted into what might have been a smile, but it wasn't a kind expression. Dr. Rodriguez, I was hoping you would say something like that. I have been watching your cases with great interest. The Galactic Medical Council has been watching too. Maya felt cold fear run through her body. The Medical Council knows about me. They know about your remarkable success rate, yes? And now that you have admitted to having unusual abilities, they will want to study those abilities very carefully. The director's forearms moved in a gesture that looked threatening despite probably being meant as reassurance. Think of the good you could do, Dr. Rodriguez. Think of all the patients across the galaxy who could benefit from your unique talents. Maya looked at the dying Andromedian child, then at Kira 3, whose skin had turned almost black with fear. She realized that her secret was no longer secret, and that the choice between helping others and protecting herself was about to be taken away from her completely. What exactly are you suggesting, Director? Maya asked, though she was afraid she already knew the answer. Director Zenth's metallic smile grew wider. I'm suggesting that you save this child's life, Dr. Rodriguez. Right here, right now, using whatever remarkable abilities you possess, and then we can discuss how to best utilize your talents for the greater good of the galaxy. Maya looked around the room one more time, knowing that whatever she did next would determine not just the child's future, but her own as well. Maya stared at the dying Andromedian child, feeling the weight of everyone's expectations pressing down on her shoulders. The room was so quiet she could hear the soft beeping of the medical monitors and the shallow breathing of the child's desperate parents. Director Zenth stood waiting, his metallic eyes watching her every move, while Kira 3 remained frozen in the doorway, her skin dark with worry. Taking a deep breath, Maya stepped closer to the child's bed. She could feel that dark presence more clearly now, the energy parasite that was slowly draining the child's life force. She had never attempted to actually treat something like this before, only to sense it. But looking at the child's fading silver veins and the terror in the parents' faces, she knew she had to try. I need everyone to step back, Maya said quietly. And I need the room to be completely silent. Director Zenth started to object, but Dr. Chen held up a hand. Let her work, he said. Maya was grateful for her colleague's trust, even though she knew he didn't understand what was really happening. Maya placed her hands gently on either side of the child's head, being careful not to disturb any of the monitoring equipment. She closed her eyes and did the breathing exercises Kira 3 had taught her. Reaching out with her mind toward the shadow she could sense inside the child, the psychic parasite was unlike anything she had ever encountered. It felt ancient and hungry, feeding off the pure life energy that made Andromedians so unique among the galaxy's species. But as Maya focused on it, she began to understand its nature. It wasn't truly evil, just a form of life that survived by consuming energy from other beings, like a virus. But one that existed in the space between thoughts and emotions. Maya knew she couldn't simply destroy it without potentially harming the child. Instead, she had to convince it to leave, to find another source of energy that wouldn't involve killing an innocent being. Using techniques Kira 3 had taught her, Maya reached out to the parasite with her mind, offering it something it had never experienced before: communication. The sensation was overwhelming. Maya felt the parasite's confusion as it realized it was being contacted by a conscious mind. For perhaps thousands of years, it had existed without ever truly connecting with another being. It had simply followed its instincts, feeding where it could, never understanding the pain it caused. Through her mental connection, Maya showed the parasite images of the child's life, playing with friends, learning to read, laughing with family. She helped it understand that this small being had value beyond just being a source of energy. She showed it the parents' love and the joy the child brought. To everyone around them, the parasite's response was a mixture of surprise and something that might have been remorse. It had never considered that its food source had feelings, dreams, and people who cared about them. Maya sensed its willingness to leave, but also its fear. It didn't know how to survive without feeding off other beings. That's when Maya made a decision that would change her life forever. Instead of simply driving the parasite away, she offered it part of her own energy. Not enough to harm herself, but enough to sustain it while it learned to find energy from non-living sources like starlight or cosmic radiation. The transfer was unlike anything Maya had ever experienced. She felt her own life force flowing out through her hands, mixing with the child's energy and feeding the parasite. For a moment, she worried she had made a terrible mistake. The drain on her energy was intense, making her feel dizzy and weak. But then something amazing happened. The child's silver veins began to glow brighter, and the parasite started to separate itself from the child's energy matrix. Maya could feel it learning, adapting, discovering that there were other ways to exist that didn't require harming living beings. Within minutes, the parasite had completely left the child's body and dispersed into the energy fields that surrounded the space station. The child's breathing became stronger, and the silver patterns under their skin began pulsing with healthy light. The parents gasped with joy, their own skin patterns flashing in brilliant displays of relief and gratitude. Maya opened her eyes and immediately staggered. The energy transfer had left her exhausted, but she felt a deep satisfaction knowing that she had saved both the child and the parasite. Dr. Hassan quickly moved to support her. While Dr. Chen checked the child's vital signs, remarkable, Director Zenth said, his voice filled with a mixture of amazement and calculation. Dr. Rodriguez, what you have just accomplished is beyond anything in our medical databases. The Galactic Medical Council will be extremely interested in studying your methods. Maya straightened up, still feeling weak, but determined to make her position clear. Director, before we discuss anything with the Medical Council, I need to establish some conditions. The Centaurian's metal eyebrows rose in surprise. Conditions. Dr. Rodriguez, you are in no position to make demands. Your abilities could revolutionize medicine across the galaxy. That's exactly why I need to make conditions, Maya replied firmly. What I just did nearly exhausted me completely. If I had attempted something more complex, it could have permanently damaged my mind. These abilities come with serious risks that need to be understood and respected. Karathri stepped forward, her skin finally returning to a normal blue color. The director should know that Dr. Rodriguez has been training to control her abilities safely. Without proper preparation and limits, using these gifts could be fatal. Director Zenth looked between Maya and Kira 3, his expression thoughtful. You have been training together, Nurse Kira 3? Why was this not reported through proper channels? Because Maya said before Kira 3 could answer, we knew that if people learned about my abilities too soon, they would want to use them without considering the consequences, and we were right, weren't we? The director was quiet for a long moment, processing what Maya had said. Finally, he spoke. What kind of conditions are you proposing, Dr. Rodriguez? Maya took a deep breath, knowing this was her chance to protect, not just herself, but anyone else who might have similar abilities in the future. First, any use of my abilities must be voluntary and limited to cases where conventional medicine has failed. Second, I want to establish a research program to study these gifts safely, with proper protections for anyone involved. Third, I want to create ethical guidelines for how such abilities should be used across the galaxy. And fourth, Kira 3 added, her skin glowing with that warm golden blue, we want to establish a training program to help others who might have similar gifts learn to use them safely. Director Zenth considered their proposals carefully. Around them, the other doctors watched in fascination as medical history was being made. The Andromedian child was sitting up now, playing with a small toy while their parents wept with joy. Your proposals have merit, the director finally said. But the medical council will want to see results. They will want proof that your methods can be taught and replicated safely. Maya nodded. Then let's give them proof. Let's build something that protects people like me while still helping patients who need it. Let's create a new kind of medicine that combines the best of technology with the power of empathy and understanding. Over the following weeks, Maya and Karathri worked together to develop the framework for what would become the Interspecies Medical Ethics Committee. They created guidelines for identifying individuals with unusual abilities, protocols for safe training and development, and strict rules about consent and voluntary participation. The Andromedian child made a full recovery and became the first documented case of successful psychic parasite removal. The parasite itself was studied and found to be thriving in its new lifestyle, feeding off cosmic radiation and actually helping to clean harmful energy fluctuations from the space station's systems. Maya's abilities continued to develop under Kirathri's careful guidance, but always within strict limits designed to protect her health. She helped establish similar training programs for other species who had individuals with empathic gifts, creating a network of healers who could assist with the most challenging medical cases across the galaxy. 6 months later, Maya stood once again at the observation deck of the medical station, watching Mars rotate slowly below. But this time, she wasn't alone. Kirathri stood beside her, along with Dr. Hassan, Dr. Chen, several other colleagues who had become part of their expanded medical team. Do you ever regret it? Kirathri asked, her skin showing the calm blue color that meant contentment. Revealing. Your abilities? Everything that came after? Maya smiled, thinking about all the patients they had helped, and all the young healers they were training to use their gifts responsibly. No, she said. I think this is exactly what I was meant to do. Not just healing people, but making sure that healing is done the right way. Behind them, the medical station hummed with activity as doctors from dozens of species worked together, sharing knowledge and techniques that were making medicine better for everyone. And in the special training wing, young beings with empathic abilities were learning to develop their gifts safely. Guided by principles of ethics and compassion that would protect both healers and patients for generations to come, Maya had come to the station expecting to learn about alien medicine, but instead she had discovered something much more important: